Welcome to today's episode of I Get It. We are so glad you're here. Today, I'm going to be talking about something that I have been really bad at, notoriously, in our relationship. And an area, that is a mean joke, that I have just dropped the ball. And no, it is not cooking, you jerk.
We're going to talk about how to work through an argument again today.
Things that I have done to change my mindset to get better in this area, to better
Are you sure it's not cooking?
Oh gosh. To better our relationship. Stay tuned and thanks for being here. Welcome to I Get It, a podcast for the modern woman who doesn't want to live mediocre. We're balancing babies on our hips, typing out that important email, and flipping pancakes at the same time. Not to mention, keeping things steamy with our husbands right before we put our face mask on for the night. It's not easy, and you are not alone. I'm your host, Tara Wages, and I get it. Welcome to today's episode. I am your host, Tara Wages, and this is my man that apparently has a lot of jokes today, Wes Wages. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
I'm glad that you're here today. You are apparently in a mood. You want to bring up my cooking, which, guys, I'm not a bad cook. I'm not.
You make great chocolate chip cookies.
I make the best chocolate chip cookies.
What's the secret ingredient?
Oh, I can't tell. It's a secret.
Okay.
And
they're really good.
Wes always acts like I'm this terrible cook, and I'm just not.
We've had major fights about this.
We've had major fights about it because I get really offended because I'm a good cook. But truth be told, he does. He's kind of taken over most of our dinner time stuff. We have become a HelloFresh family 3 nights a week. It is my favorite thing on earth. And I would get a second job before I gave up HelloFresh every week.
I would agree. I mean, I feel like this is an ad, this is not, but it's awesome. We get to try new things.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We eat things now that we...
Yeah, and so Wes has taken over. He does a lot of the cooking in that area, but I'm not bad. So I just want you to retract all those beginning statements, what you said about my cooking.
You make amazing food.
Thank you. And today... I guess we are in some ways, for some people, it could be talking about food. We're talking about service and serving each other and what that can do for a relationship, the benefits that it is. And that it's something that I really was terrible at for the first several years of our marriage. And it's something now that I have to be intentional for and do a lot of self-checks. And why I struggle through that. So that's what we're going to dive into.
Awesome.
And I want to say that it's not that I'm bad at service because I want to be bad at service. I just don't think about things. My brain just doesn't work in that way. Wes is a really good problem solver. He's good at initiating things and he loves to solve a problem. And that is great for our work. He's really, really good at that in our business, but he brings it home. And I think you look at a lot of our family and our home and our life is okay, what's the problem right now and how do I fix it? Tira is hungry. Okay, that's a problem. I'm going to fix it by feeding her. Okay, our dishes are dirty. That's a problem. I'm going to fix it by, initiating doing that. And it's not that I don't keep our home clean or I don't cook, but I don't do these things as an act of service for you. And I don't go out of my way, at least early on in our marriage, I didn't go out of my way to do small things that would bring you joy. And so for Wes, some of the things that you did in the past that have just always stood out to me, if I had photo shoots early in the morning, I would get in my car. One, he would get the car warmed up or cooled off for me, depending on what time of year it was. It's either freezing or hot.
I finally bought a remote start for our car.
Yes. And there were I would get in, there would be a full tank of gas when the night before we were driving on empty. So he would have snuck out, gone and filled up the gas, and then there'd be a biscuit in my seat. So he would have had food there for me, gas. he would have everything in place that I would need, all my camera equipment, where I didn't have to think about anything. It would just be done. He now, in today's world, he makes me breakfast 5 out of 7 days for sure. Like, that is definitely a way that you serve me repeatedly. And that's difficult for him because he's actually doing a lot of intermittent fasting. So he's not even eating breakfast. So he is making me food that he then is not even partaking in, just as an act of service for me. He picks up around our house. We don't live in a home where we have divided jobs. It's not like you do this and I do the laundry or the cooking or whatever. Like, we live in a home where if it's a job that needs to be done, we all pitch in and we do it. And I just talked to so many of my friends that their homes are so one-sided. And it breaks my heart for them. And truly, the majority of the time, it is the wife taking care of things in this way. But I have some friends that, like, it's the husband that does 98% of the cleaning. But we really do. It's pretty 50-50. And for me, I view that as an act of service just because I know so many women that do all of those things in their home all of the time.
Yeah.
And you never hesitate to pitch in. And without me asking. I think there's been like one time in our entire marriage where I've verbally said, hey, Wes, can you do the dishes? Or something like that. Just because you automatically help with those things. I don't ever need to ask because I've either already done them or you jumped in before I could, you know? And when you jump in before I can, that is an act of service to me. Like, Friday night or Saturday night, the house was jumbled. The kids had played all day and I went to the protest that night. You put the kids down and then I came home to a clean house. Like, after the kids went to sleep, I knew that you stayed up instead of just crashing on the couch and clean the house for me to come home to a clean house. And those moments, like, an act of service is not my love language.
Right.
But it just makes me feel so at ease, you know, and seen and appreciated that we are a team, you know? And so whether acts of service is your love language or it's not, it is just a part of being on a team together, you know?
This is the best episode we've had, by the way.
Because I'm just telling everything amazing that you've done. Because we definitely have the episodes where we talk about your faults. Wes is not a perfect man. And this is one that I'm at fault, you know? Yeah,
earlier you said, talked about acts of service. And so all of us are really good at some things and bad at some things. Like, I'm really bad at words of affirmation. I have to really work hard at that. And it does not come natural, you know, but acts of service is just not your, like, you work at it. It's not a natural thing.
But acts of service is also not your love language either, though.
It's not, but I can give it.
Yeah. It's something that I've had to train myself on, even though it's not your love language. It's not my love language, but I see the benefit of it for each other.
Yeah, especially now that we have children.
Yes.
I think it's that acts of service just increases as, you know, you get older.
Yeah, and it definitely fuels me more than it ever has for sure. But it just shows me that even when it's not either of our love language, the effect that it has on our marriage, because we really are coming into our marriage as a team and we work towards things, whether it's in our home or out of our home, together, you know, and we are showing up for each other. Acts of service, I guess, is just another way that we are being intentional to do something for someone else without really receiving a lot of the benefit. I mean, for you to make me breakfast when you can't even eat it, that is like the highest form of service, you know, like you're not doing it for your own benefit. That only is benefiting me. And I think that just adds so much value to our marriage and really just makes me know that we are going to be able to go the extra mile because of how we show up for each other, you know,
absolutely,
outside of our typical love language environment, you know?
Absolutely.
So how I have kind of like, one day it just hit me of like, Tira, Wes does all of these things for you. And in my head, I just kind of listed them out. And I thought, what am I actually doing for him? How am I showing up to go above and beyond in his life to show him that I love him outside of, rubbing his arm for his physical touch, but how am I showing up on this team?
Mm-hmm.
And I just realized, like, I'm not. Yeah, I'm helping with the house. Of course, like, I do the dishes. I was cooking. I would help with the laundry. We're playing our roles, but I wasn't going above and beyond to really show up and show out, be the MVP, like you had been for me. And so I was inspired by what you did, and I really wanted to step up and do that. And so now I just started to ask myself a few questions. Those times that the dishes are dirty or things aren't picked up, and I just want to lay down, because on one hand, I don't do it because my brain doesn't work that way. On another hand, sometimes I just feel lazy and I just want to lay down. So on the days that I'm feeling lazy and tired, I just ask myself, how long is this going to take? If it's the dishes in the sink, how long is it actually going to take me to do that? In reality, it takes about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime there's something that takes 10 minutes or less, that's a no-brainer. I'm just going to do it. Whether you even realize that I'm doing it or not, for you to come home and them not be there, you just feel lighter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you may not notice if it's been done, but you definitely notice if it hasn't been done. And so anything that's like 10 minutes or less, I automatically just do it. And then I can relax, And then I think about what is impactful for him. What are the things that like really go the distance for you as an individual? And so for me, it's my breakfast. Wes giving me a biscuit or feeding me is huge. For Wes, it's something like cleaning out the car. He loves a fresh car. So a lot of times when he is out of town, the day before he gets back in town, I will try to have gone and vacuumed out or cleaned out the car. I do that as above and beyond act of service. Like, hey, I did this purposely for you. Another thing that he really loves are clean sheets. So I am intentional about, again, when he's traveled, for him to come home to a set of clean sheets. And that's not just like the basic cleaning. I'm doing this for you because I love you.
I'll say, I learned this, Michael Hyatt, who we've kind of been able to work with and work under. He told me one time that he has his assistant schedule date nights with his wife. And actually little things like that, like, hey, clean the sheets every 2 weeks. What was the other thing?
Clean out the car.
Cleaning out the car. Like, every month, get the car cleaned and cleaned out. There's a part of me that really felt like, well, if you have to automate it, then it really doesn't come from the heart. But his wife literally tells you, like, that is completely false. Like, if you had to put on your calendar, hey, every 2 weeks, clean out the car, that would be amazing for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we can use systems really to help things. And if we systemize it, then it gets kind of embedded into our minds. And so we just do it without thinking about it. And then a year down the road, you're like, yeah, it's just a normal thing I do, but it still means so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And
so just setting a reminder on your phone, so easy.
For sure. And really like listening to each other so we can learn what each other's like positive triggers are, where we gain that identity and what builds us up. And so the day that I realize, cleaning out the car actually like fills him up and makes him super, super joyful. Okay, that's something I can do. That's easy for me. It takes 20 minutes, and I can do it with the kids strapped into their car seats. And it like goes above and beyond for him. So I make a mental note of that. Clean sheets, mental note of that. All of these things that he really responds to, I make a mental note of. So it's also really, really important for when we're receiving these things to let the other person know, whoa, I saw that you did that and it was freaking awesome. And thank you. And so that person knows they're validated.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to do that again.
Yeah.
So as soon as he told me, wow, this was amazing. Okay, I want to make him feel amazing. That is my goal, is to make him feel amazing. So now I make those mental notes so I can continue to do those things over and over to fill him up.
Let me say this. I think recently in our marriage, we've realized that sometimes we have to tell each other, hey, I clean the kitchen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's been a hard thing because it really takes a lot out of the person that did the work. And it almost feels selfish in a way to say like, hey, I need you to see this.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Like you're communicating. There are sometimes your mind is going to be completely somewhere else, right? But if you don't notice the kitchen's cleaned, we could just not talk about it. And then I'm going to feel a little resentment and we're going to go the next day and I'm not going to talk to you. And it's like, hey, what's this underlying burden that you have,
Mm-hmm.
Or I could just say, I cleaned the kitchen and you haven't said anything. I just need you to give me some words of affirmation or something,
Well, so this is actually something we have had pretty big fights about this.
Yeah.
Because we will have made it to the end of the week and not noticed anything the other person did for each other. And our love tanks will be empty because maybe we also didn't do our love languages. We didn't notice the other acts of service because our love languages were empty. And we'll get to the end of the week, we'll be like, what have you done all week? Or I don't know, I'm just mad at you and I don't know why I'm mad at you. And it's because my love language is empty. And it's like, oh no, I did all of these things. You just didn't see them.
Yeah.
And so we reached the point where I had to say, okay, Wes, I need you to point out to me when you do something so I can see it. So I make sure to see it because I want to see it. And that's taken practice but it's been huge for us. There is nothing wrong. So he doesn't just crawl into the bed automatically and notice that the sheets are clean, like seeing our car, trust me, you can tell when it has been cleaned, but our sheets, unless I tell him, hey, I cleaned the sheets for you today. Like you're going to come home to fresh sheets. He would never know. And then that makes him excited and he can really appreciate it. And then I feel good because he's like, thank you. And of course I want that validation. And so it helps us both out to just simply, hey, like I did this for you today. And I hope that you saw it and I did it because I love you.
Yep.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's a great point. Thank you for saying that.
You are welcome.
Yeah. And so again, the questions that I ask myself when I'm, in this debate or I've lost sight and I haven't been serving well, I ask myself, how long will this take? Will this be impactful for him? And what can I do today that brings him joy? One of our teammates last week was just sitting here, we're working. His wife calls in the parking lot. She's like, hey, I brought you a drink from Turbo, our coffee shop. And I could just see him change, oh, wow, you thought of me. You brought me this, and we didn't talk about it, but I could just see in him that just filled him up a little bit.
Yeah.
So these little things that bring you joy, when Wes mine are always breakfast. When you show up, not just making me breakfast, but when you show up at home, maybe you had an errand and you have coffee or
yeah, I don't give Tira flowers. That really means nothing. I just give her food.
I just want breakfast. It's my favorite meal of the day. But when you show up with my favorite breakfast bowl, dude, that's the best start of any day ever when it's unexpected. And so dropping off a coffee or putting a little note in something or really just going above and beyond in an unexpected way that's not just the typical house cleaning is huge. But I will add, if you currently are not chipping in and helping with housework, then that is a place to start. That job is so difficult. And during the coronavirus, I could really see the shift in what it was like to be a woman that was home all day, doing that work constantly with a husband going to work. And then it's me still doing that job. And it was exhausting.
Yeah.
It is very difficult and it is very, very lonely. So I understand for husbands that are working all day, and you're exhausted and you're stressed. And I know we've mentioned this. If you need to take that extra lap around the block before you walk in your front door, so then you can walk in the door and give her 100%, she will be much more willing to say, yeah, take an extra 20 minutes if that means you're going to walk in and you're going to help with the dishes, you're going to help with the dinner, you're going to help with the kids. I promise you, she's going to be like, yeah, 20 minutes is nothing if you're going to pitch in.
Yeah.
So pitching in and pulling your weight helps in so many ways. So I'm going to share with you the benefits of what this does whenever you do that. One, it gives you both time to rest. So on the nights that, the dishes are still in the sink and the house isn't picked up, if we're both doing that, if we both pitch in, we both get to lay down faster.
Yeah.
Or if I'm out at the protest or wherever I am and Wes is home with the kids and he goes ahead and cleans up, when I get home, we both get to relax together. And so it just gives us both this extra space to chill out,
Yep.
Whenever I start doing things for him above and beyond, it's a miracle. I notice he does more for me, and that's exactly what started this. I was seeing everything he was doing above and beyond for me, and it inspired me. It made me want to be better. It made me want to do more. And y'all, I'm ashamed to say that it took him years of doing this before I caught on, but I did catch on. So going above and beyond, it may not be something that your partner notices overnight. And which is why Wes said, do things that are either super noticeable or point them out so they see it. You may not just have this shift immediately, but speaking from our experience, that change happened.
Yeah.
That shift happened. And now when he does something extra special for me, Lord, I want to do something extra special for him.
Yeah.
And we just get to live in this really abundant joy all the time, because it's not that we're trying to one up each other, but in some ways it almost feels that way in a positive way of I want to pour back into you everything you're pouring into me.
Yeah. Can I be real a second? Just
I'm
a
nervous.
millisecond. When we're not doing well, we do the exact opposite.
100%, which is what the next thing is.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the notes, but
Yeah.
I mean, let's just move into that. It's sad when one of us hasn't done anything and we notice it. And then we have our decision in that moment to say, hey, am I going to step up right now?
Mm-hmm.
And there's oftentimes we have to fight against our own minds and say, I could just rub it in and say, well, you don't do this and I'm not going to do it times 2.
Yep.
But we just got to step up and say, hey, maybe if I do this repeatedly,
Yeah.
Then we'll get back into the cycle.
100%. And so that's the other benefit was this helps to break the cycle.
Written down, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Oh man.
We've been talking about the cycle for a couple of episodes now. We've talked about it with sex. We talked about it with love languages. And we as humans in marriages, we get stuck in the cycle of, you haven't been helping me with this, so I don't want to help you with that.
Yep.
And so then the other person never budges because the other person hasn't budged, and then it's super messy. And that is something that we do in our homes in this area of, well, you don't help me with the house, so I don't want to help you with the garbage whenever you are not doing well or you are hurt or sick. It builds this resentment up with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so when one of us steps up and starts doing, we all have to do the basics, but doing these little things above and beyond, it helps break down that cycle in the other person to where they then want to step up. And then we are again back on the ring together, moving in unison and serving each other in this really beautiful way that brings joy.
Yep.
That's so true that it can absolutely work in the opposite way. And if you don't do those things, mess that cycle up, which is why you need to do a self-reflection, for the husband and for the wife. And I know some of y'all listen to this together, which is so awesome. And think, what am I doing right now? What am I bringing to our home on a regular basis that, one, just helps maintain the home? And if you're the financial, if you work, that is a check for you. Great, you do that. And your wife is currently tending to your children, check for her. It doesn't have to be this super even thing, but think what are you doing outside of those things? Are you pitching in with the laundry, the dishes, the sweeping, the kids, the bath time? there's a lot, and it hurts me so badly when I hear my friends, they're just on their own. It is, and I talk to women mostly, and so men know that you are not excluded from this experience. But to hear them just share, and they then are stuck in the cycle. They have bitterness towards their husband because he is not stepping up on a daily basis to help serve their family in this way, much less go above and beyond, And so we have just seen in our relationship how that is just, totally transformed our marriage in this incredible way.
Yeah.
And Wes, you want to say it's not written down, so I want to see if you can say, what's one more benefit to doing these things for each other?
Sex?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it the whole podcast there. It's like, what's the real reason I'm doing all these things? No. Yeah, and it's so funny. I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but guys put the game system down for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny. Like, I mean, I've never been a gamer. Don't understand.
But it's not just, it's really just any hobby that it takes a ton of time.
Yeah, it's like, hey, before you watch the game, before you pick up the game system, like, just do it. Like you said earlier. So I think it's Mel Robbins in the 5-minute rule. You read that book and you well,
it's 5 seconds actually.
5-second rule.
Countdown. Yep.
And you're just like, hey, if I can think about it for 5 seconds, to just do it, take action on it right now. And I can't tell you how often I think about that. I'm just like, just take action on it right now. Just do it. Get it over with, and then do what you want to.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go clean the kitchen while you're out, at night sometimes, just because I know that, hey, the benefit is you can come home and we can just sit in and watch a show or something.
Is that what we're doing
tonight?
No. The nights that I go somewhere and I come home to a clean house.
Yeah, we're not just watching shows.
What is the actual expectation there?
Sex. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because if I come home to a dirty house, I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. I'm tired. And so there's no way we'll have sex.
Yeah, make sure the temperature's right. Because if it's too cold, if it's too hot, then you got to make sure everything, guys, clean up off the freaking floor. Yeah. Just clean the bedroom up. Make the bed. Yeah. If it's not already made, you make the bed in the mornings. But yeah, those things go a long way.
If you are not having sex regularly, ask yourself, am I helping with our home?
Yeah.
Is our home clean or organized, and to a point where she can breathe, And yeah, it makes a huge difference. That's another thing. Like, he goes above and beyond for me, bringing me my breakfast bowl. I'm like a little turned on by that, like,
all goes back to breakfast.
You bring me a Moto Mocha in the morning, and then I'm like, I'm fired up all day,
Noted.
So there are several benefits to going above and beyond.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about a subscription service. If I can just get that delivered to your door every morning.
So giving you both time to rest, seeing the other person then want to do more, and give that back, breaking the cycle, and then giving you the opportunity to let your mind breathe because things are done in your home, to open up that bedroom, know?
Yep.
And I want to challenge you this week to think about something that truly brings your spouse joy. And again, we've given our specific examples. Some of these could be like playing her favorite music when she gets home. I feel like there was a night recently that you did that.
On the outdoor speaker.
Yeah. Yeah, I walked home. That's right.
I just put it on repeat, so it just went over and over and over again until you went.
To our song. So I literally turned the corner to go in our house, and I could hear our song playing immediately. Yeah. It can be really small things, showing up to their office with a coffee or sending them a $5 Starbucks gift card so they can pick up their own coffee on the way to work and not feel guilty about it. Mm-hmm. Sorry, all of mine are food. Wes, do you have any other suggestions that aren't food related?
I would just say, right, that's super hard for men to just think of something
that does this. That's why I'm trying
to
give examples.
Yep. So I would just say ask as well.
Okay.
If you're feeling so stumped that you're overwhelmed, and as men you're just like, I just can't do this, just ask.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't have to do it the next day.
Yeah.
One cool thing is you can ask, and then like 2 weeks later you're implementing, and so then she's probably forgotten that you asked.
Yeah, but if she asks something like do the dishes,
Don't wait 2 weeks.
Don't wait 2 weeks.
But I'm just saying, like anything like that, you can just at the end of the day, don't wait. Just take action.
Yep.
And do those things.
Yeah. And if it takes 10 minutes or less, don't think twice about lending in that hand and doing it.
Absolutely.
So I challenge you this week to find something that's going to bring your spouse joy, to help. If you're not stuck in the cycle right now, this helps us stay out of the cycle. The goal is for us to not get there.
Yep.
And it really does contribute to that for us.
And love languages work. So if you haven't looked at the love languages, find out whatever your love language is and start there.
Yeah.
Like that's a good action step.
Yep. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions or need any tips or advice, maybe you're stumped and don't know what to do, you can find me at Tira Wages on Instagram. Slide into those DMs. I would love to help you find the thing that'll just bring joy to your spouse. And if you enjoyed this episode or any other episode, please share with your friends. I would appreciate that so much. I think as women, we have this conversation a lot about things that we wish that we were either bringing to our relationship or wanted our spouse to. And so if you've had this conversation with a friend, send this to them so they can share it with their spouse and they can grow together. Our goal is for marriages to thrive and us be real in ours so you can know our own struggles, to know that we aren't perfect, but we're willing to figure it out with you.
Yeah.
So share this with them so we can see more marriages thriving. And if you enjoyed, please get on the podcasting app and leave me a review. They are my love language and it really fills me up. So I'm going to do a special thank you today to B.E. Jarman, who says, "Bomb. I always love your realness and rawness. It's not always pretty, and it's awesome that you both share that you're okay with letting the world know that it's not always roses. Great insight in building and strengthening relationships, loving yourself and the world around you. You the best." You the best, B.E. Jarman. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It means the world to me, honestly.
I just got to say, if you've been hearing some clinging throughout this whole episode,
it's my earrings, and I didn't think about it. I'm so sorry.
I've just been listening to them the whole time, and I'm
Why
sure
didn't
people
you
are
say
in.
something?
I'm sure people are in their car. It's a nice little background. It's like wind chimes.
Oh. I wear the same earrings literally every single day of my life, and just decided to change today.
You look gorgeous.
So sorry about that. I won't wear them again. Thank you so much for being here. I know that life is a little crazy, and there are days that you feel a little crazy, especially when you want to go above and beyond and break this cycle, but you just don't know where to start. You are not alone. I get it. Be happy and love each other. Peace.
See ya.